Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings. Good evening. Nice to see you again. Today, I'm going to read a very mysterious and a very interesting, as well as a very horrible poem written by Edgar Allan Poe. The name of this poem is The Raven. Raven means the bird, that black crow. So this is the story, this stanza written by Edgar Allan Poe. I hope you will enjoy this. So I'm going to read the poem, the stanza. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. This some visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door, only this and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the black December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken and uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, this some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more. Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. Sir, said I, or maiden, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there and nothing more. Deep into the darkness, peering long, I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortals ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word Lenore. Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, something louder than before. Surely, said I, surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what threat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. This the wind and nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there steeped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon the bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat and nothing more. Then the ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore, though thy crest be shorn and shaven, though I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim, an ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore, ghastly grim, an ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quit the raven, nevermore. Much I marvel this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living being, human being, yet ever was blessed with seeing bird up above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured boost above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting lowly on that placid boost spoke only that one word, as if its soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered. Still I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless said I, what it utters with its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster follows fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my soul, sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of a bird and boost and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous birds of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I said, engage in guessing, but on no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfume from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretched, I cried, thy God had lent thee, by these angels he had sent thee, respite, and nepenthe from the memories of Lenore. Quaff, O quaff, this kind nepenthe, and forgot this lost Lenore. quit the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, think of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest toos thee here ashore, despite yet all undaunted on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quit the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, think of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, but that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quit the raven, nevermore. Be that our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked up startling. Get thee back into the tempest and night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plum as token of that lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quit the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of the demons that is dreaming, and the lamplight over him streaming throws his shadows on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the poem written by Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven. Now I'm going to summarize this poem, this stanza which I had read for you. The unnamed narrator is alone in his house in a cold December evening, trying to read. As he is about to fall asleep, he hears a quiet knocks at his door, but decides to ignore it. He says that he has been reading in the hopes of relieving his sorrow over Lenore. Lenore was his beloved girlfriend who died. So the memory of the Lenore tortured this man, the narrator. His beloved who has passed away, though he tries to convince himself that nothing is there. His curiosity and fear overwhelm him. He eventually opens the door, speaking Lenore into the darkness, when he hears tapping at his window. He opens that too, and a raven, a bird, flies inside his room, landing on a bust of Pallas Athena. The narrator jokingly asks the raven name, and is surprised to hear it respond, nevermore. He mutters to himself that the raven will probably leave him just as his friends and the loved ones did, to which the raven responds once more, nevermore. The narrator then seats himself directly in front of the bird, trying to understand what it means by nevermore. Suddenly the narrator perceives that Angels sitting by God have caused the air to become dense and perfumed. Anxious, he asks the raven if the angels are sign that heaven will relieve him of his sorrow, to which the bird says again, nevermore. With the same response, the bird rejects his hope that he might see Lenore again in heaven, as well and as he is impassioned request for the birds to leave him alone. Finally, the narrator tells us that the raven has continued to sit atop at his chamber door above the boost of Pallas, and that he will live forever in its shadow. I hope you will enjoy this stanza, this poem written by Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven, the mysterious raven. Thank you very much.